Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm bringing you breaking news coverage of a devastating aviation disaster that has shocked the world today. At approximately 1:38 p.m. local time today, Air India Flight AI171 crashed shortly after takeoff from Ahmedabad Airport in Western India. All 242 people on board are feared dead in what appears to be one of the deadliest aviation disasters in recent history. The Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner was bound for London's Gatwick Airport when tragedy struck just moments after departure. Ahmedabad Police Commissioner G.S. Malik has confirmed to our news partners that there appear to be no survivors from this catastrophic crash. Let me take you through what we know so far about this heartbreaking incident. Flight AI171 departed from Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport in Ahmedabad at 1:38 p.m. local time. The aircraft was a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, registration number not yet released by authorities. The passenger manifest shows a truly international tragedy. Of the 242 souls on board, 169 were Indian nationals, 53 were British nationals, 7 were Portuguese nationals, and 1 was a Canadian national. This flight was scheduled to arrive at London Gatwick Airport at 6:25 p.m. local time. It was meant to be a routine 8-hour flight, connecting 2 major international destinations. What makes this crash particularly significant from an aviation safety perspective is that Boeing 787 Dreamliners had never before been involved in a fatal passenger incident. The Dreamliner, which entered commercial service in 2011, has maintained an exemplary safety record until today's tragedy. According to aviation analytics firm Cirium, the aircraft involved in today's crash had accumulated more than 41,000 flight hours, which is considered average for this type of aircraft. The plane had been in service for several years and had undergone regular maintenance checks as required by international aviation standards. Eyewitness accounts and preliminary reports from India's Directorate General of Civil Aviation paint a terrifying picture of the final moments of Flight AY171. The aircraft crashed in the Meghaninagar area, located just outside the perimeter of Ahmedabad Airport. According to the Directorate General, the plane fell on the ground outside the airport perimeter immediately after departing from the airport. Dramatic video footage captured at the scene shows the aircraft disappearing below the tree line, followed within seconds by a massive explosion. A huge fireball erupted from the crash site, sending thick plumes of grey and black smoke high into the afternoon sky. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation reported that heavy black smoke was seen coming from the accident site, indicating the severity of the impact and the resulting fire. India's Central Industrial Security Force has released photographs from the crash site showing the devastating aftermath. The images reveal first responders, emergency personnel, and civilians working desperately to extinguish the flaming wreckage scattered across the crash area. One particularly striking photograph shows the damaged tail section of the aircraft embedded partially inside a nearby building, illustrating the tremendous force of the impact. The response to this disaster has been immediate and comprehensive, involving multiple agencies and levels of government. Indian Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu Kinjarapu took immediate action, directing all aviation and emergency response agencies to coordinate their efforts. In a statement, the minister said he had mobilised rescue teams and ensured that medical aid and relief support were being rushed to the crash site. India's Central Industrial Security Force has released photographs from the crash site showing the devastating aftermath. The images reveal first responders, emergency personnel, and civilians working desperately to extinguish the flaming wreckage scattered across the crash area. One particularly striking photograph shows the damaged tail section of the aircraft embedded partially inside a nearby building, illustrating the tremendous force of the impact. The response to this disaster has been immediate and comprehensive, involving multiple agencies and levels of government. Indian Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu Kinjarapu took immediate action, directing all aviation and emergency response agencies to coordinate their efforts. In a statement, the minister said he had mobilised rescue teams and ensured that medical aid and relief support were being rushed to the crash site. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, whose nation lost 53 citizens in this crash, issued a statement calling the incident devastating. He said, quote, "The scenes emerging of a London-bound plane carrying many British nationals crashing in the Indian city of Ahmedabad are devastating. My thoughts are with the passengers and their families at this deeply distressing time." End quote. Prime Minister Starmer confirmed that he is being regularly updated on the situation and that British consular services are working closely with Indian authorities to support the families of British nationals involved. London's Gatwick Airport, the intended destination for Flight AI171, issued its own statement confirming the flight's scheduled arrival time and expressing condolences to all those affected by the tragedy. Aviation authorities have released information about the flight crew, providing some insight into the experience level of those at the controls during the final moments. According to India's Directorate General of Civil Aviation, the captain of Flight A6171 had accumulated 8,200 hours of flying experience. This represents a significant level of experience in commercial aviation. The co-pilot had logged 1,100 hours of flying experience. While this is less than the captain, it represents a qualified and certified commercial pilot with substantial training and experience. Both pilots would have undergone extensive training specific to the Boeing 787 aircraft. including simulator training and recurrent proficiency checks as required by international aviation standards. The aviation industry has responded swiftly to this tragedy, with key manufacturers and airlines taking immediate action. Boeing, the manufacturer of the 787 Dreamliner, issued a statement saying they are aware of initial reports and are working to gather more information. The company has activated its emergency response protocols and is preparing to support the investigation. GE Aerospace, which manufactured the engines for this aircraft, has also activated their emergency response team. The company stated they are prepared to support their customer and the investigation as authorities work to determine the cause of this crash. Air India initially announced the incident in a measured statement on social media, saying the flight had been involved in an incident and that they were ascertaining the details. As the severity of the situation became clear, the airline updated their social media profiles to display all black images as a mark of respect for those lost. The investigation into this crash will be comprehensive and international in scope. The National Transportation Safety Board of the United States will be leading a team of American investigators travelling to India to assist in the crash investigation. This is standard procedure when US-manufactured aircraft are involved in incidents overseas. The investigation will examine multiple factors, including weather conditions, mechanical systems, human factors, and air traffic control communications. Investigators will be looking for the aircraft's flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, the so-called black boxes, which should provide crucial information about the final moments of the flight. All official information regarding the investigation will be provided by the Indian government, which has jurisdiction over this incident. The investigation is expected to take months or even years to complete, as authorities work to determine the exact cause of this tragedy. To put today's tragedy in perspective, it's important to understand the safety record of the aircraft involved and modern aviation safety in general. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner has been in commercial service since 2011. Prior to today's crash, no Dreamliner had ever been involved in a fatal passenger incident, making this the first such tragedy for this aircraft type. The Dreamliner fleet has logged millions of flight hours across hundreds of aircraft operated by airlines worldwide. The aircraft was designed with numerous safety improvements over previous generations, including advanced composite materials and state-of-the-art avionics systems. While today's crash is devastating, it's worth noting that commercial aviation remains statistically the safest form of travel. However, when accidents do occur, they often result in significant loss of life, making each incident a profound tragedy. This crash will likely have immediate and long-term impacts on air travel, particularly for routes between India and the United Kingdom. Air India, which is India's flag carrier, operates multiple daily flights between India and the UK. The airline has not yet announced any changes to its flight schedule, but increased security and safety checks are likely in the immediate aftermath of this incident. Passengers who were booked on future Air India flights may experience delays as the airline and aviation authorities conduct additional safety reviews. This is standard procedure following any major aviation incident. The crash may also prompt renewed scrutiny of safety procedures at Ahmedabad Airport and potentially other airports in India's aviation system. As we continue to follow this developing story, several key questions remain unanswered. Investigators will need to determine what caused this aircraft to crash so shortly after takeoff. Was it mechanical failure, weather conditions, human error, or some combination of factors? The answer to this question will be crucial for preventing similar tragedies in the future. The recovery of the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder will be a top priority for investigators. These devices should provide critical information about the aircraft's performance and the crew's actions in the final moments before the crash. We will also be monitoring the response from Boeing and aviation authorities worldwide. If any systemic issues are identified with the 787 Dreamliner, it could have implications for the hundreds of these aircraft currently in service around the world. Today's crash of Air India flight AI171 represents a profound tragedy that has touched lives across multiple continents. 242 people from India, Britain, Portugal and Canada lost their lives in what appears to be a catastrophic accident shortly after takeoff from Ahmedabad. As rescue workers continue their efforts at the crash site and investigators begin their work to determine the cause, our thoughts remain with the families and loved ones of all those who perished in this terrible accident. This tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the risks inherent in aviation, even as the industry continues to maintain high safety standards. The investigation that follows will be crucial not only for providing answers to grieving families, but also for ensuring that lessons learned from this crash help prevent similar tragedies in the future. We will continue to monitor this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available from the ongoing investigation. Our coverage of this developing story will continue throughout the evening. Dramatic video footage captured at the scene by witnesses and security cameras shows the aircraft disappearing below the tree line, followed within seconds by a massive explosion. A huge fireball erupted from the crash site, sending thick plumes of grey and black smoke high into the afternoon sky, visible from miles away. The speed of the explosion suggests that the aircraft was carrying a significant amount of fuel, as would be expected for a long-haul international flight. The Boeing 787-8 typically carries approximately 26,000 gallons of fuel for a flight of this distance. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation reported that heavy black smoke was seen coming from the accident site, indicating the severity of the impact and the resulting fire. Emergency responders described the scene as devastating, with aircraft debris scattered across a wide area. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, whose nation lost 53 citizens in this crash, issued a statement calling the incident devastating. He said, quote, "The scenes emerging of a London-bound plane carrying many British nationals crashing in the Indian city of Ahmedabad are devastating. My thoughts are with the passengers and their families at this deeply distressing time." End quote. Prime Minister Starmer confirmed that he is being regularly updated on the situation and that British consular services are working closely with Indian authorities to support the families of British nationals involved. The British government has activated its emergency protocols for overseas incidents involving multiple British casualties. The Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office has established a dedicated helpline for families concerned about relatives who may have been on the flight. British consular officials are being dispatched to Ahmedabad to assist with victim identification and family support services. London's Gatwick Airport, the intended destination for Flight AI171, issued its own statement confirming the flight's scheduled arrival time and expressing condolences to all those affected by the tragedy. The airport has also activated its emergency procedures for dealing with incidents involving scheduled flights. Portugal's government has also responded to the loss of 7 Portuguese nationals, with the Foreign Ministry expressing condolences and offering consular assistance to the families of the victims. We expect to receive additional information about the victims, the investigation progress, and any preliminary findings that may emerge from the crash site. We will also monitor any changes to flight operations or safety procedures that may result from this incident. Thank you for joining us for this comprehensive special report on one of the most tragic aviation disasters in recent memory. We'll return to our regular programming, but we'll interrupt with any significant developments in this story as they occur. Our hearts go out to all those affected by this tragedy, and we will continue to provide respectful and thorough coverage as this story develops.